Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner. This is Travis, and we get to go first. Alright, we are playing with one of the pre-made decks that we just got shown for Midweek Magic. Wizards is showing off not just the new Eldraine expansion, but the Alchemy Eldraine cards as well. And they put together 5 pre-mades. And this is kind of in fitting with the other pre-mades that they made recently, which are also made with Alchemy cards. We could flash this in. I think we will. I think we'll just flash it in at the end of next turn. This has haste. And this is a problem. I did some playtesting against this earlier. It killed me. It works off of enlisted conjured duplicates. I'm hoping they rush me with it so I can just... I'm willing to trade. Yes, okay. Because why wouldn't you? Now the problem is this deck also has a way to get that back out of the graveyard. Okay, what color do we take? I guess blue? And we'll bring down a Tome of Gadwick, which is also an alchemy card. This is a draft spellbook. You just have to equip it, and when you hit the player with it, you can draw any one of all these cards. You get one choice out of 3 options. I'm kind of surprised to see Brainstorm in there. Brainstorm is banned in certain formats. It's that powerful. None of the others are quite that bad. Overcooked is an alchemy card. It takes fun off of the food fight. Artifacts you control have 2. Sacrifice the artifact. It deals damage to any target equal to 1 plus the number of permanents named food fight you control. So if you do the celebration mechanic, they can get multiple enchantments of that out. I don't know that there's a way that this deck has to dealing with it. But let's see. What's the average mana cost, you think, for these spells? Let's just say 2. We use Talion the Kindly Lord. We choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever they cast a spell with value, power, or toughness, they lose 2 life, and we get to draw a card. And there's a power of 2, so they lose 2, and we get a card. They got a food fight because they triggered the celebration mechanic, because it came in with 1 permanent, and then the treasure's a 2nd permanent. Let's see. I think the sooner we get this down, the better. And we can go ahead and afford this. Actually, let me go ahead and put Gadwick on here, and we'll go ahead and swing in for a hit. Okay, when we discard a card, I guess we'll go ahead and actually let me throw something in the graveyard. We'll target that fairy. Now we get to conjure a random card. So we can just take the likeness looter and make it a copy of the mocking sprite as it is. These decks are still pretty new to us, so we're still working out the kinks. We're still learning how all the cards work best together. 4 damage? Ouch. I think we can afford to block that. Okay, let's go ahead and consider. Like the card, keep the card. That is flash. Let's just increase our toughness and make it harder for them to deal damage to us. Brainstorm! Sweet. I'm just going to keep the spell stutter out here. This is always gonna, if they can just put out one permanent. No, it needs to meet the celebration, create a food token first of all. So they do need to put down 2 permanents to get the food token. Yeah, come on through. Lots of open mana. What are you going to do? Beginning of 2 or more, draw a card. Okay. Spell starter. I feel like I need all the land I can get. So we'll do that. Let's do nothing. Their second Goblin Morale Sergeant, they can just attack now with haste and enlist this, and that's enough to kill... Oh, they're not. Okay, yeah, they are. They're going to enlist. So we can sort of kill each other, right? Oh, wait, they didn't enlist. I think that was just a misplay on their part? Or do you have a trick? I think they misplayed. I think they meant to enlist the red cap. But wait, let's see. Are they going to do any damage spell? I wonder, likeness looter, maybe I can just copy Talion now. Okay, they do 2, they're gonna bargain it. Alright. Okay, but that's basically all you got, right? So... select value of X. 4. Bingo. Auto pay. Ta-da! Do I get to... Oh, no. It becomes a copy. Do I not get to choose the number? Alright. Let's go ahead and bargain this. And we'll take back the original Talion. I was right, I needed all the land I could get. This, I always thought that the fairies were going to be a very cheap deck. I've already come up against some stuff in Modern Standard that is kind of cheap. But this particular version of everything put together, this is like average cost is 4 drops. Or there's tricks like bargains that you need to save up for. What do you have that you're going to use against us? Let's just get rid of you, and I'm going to take the 3. That would be a strange bluff, so yeah. There you go. We just get something back anyway. This looks like perpetual exchange target creature's base power with another target creature's base power. Yeah. It's not a lot because these aren't, we're not playing with a lot of power right now between these. But we get the Wicked roll on it. Let's do this. We'll go ahead and choose you for your base. So it becomes 2/5 from the Wicked aura, and then becomes 3/2 because its base went there. And then we'll just bring this down as well. And they can do 3 damage to anybody. So if you're going to activate that, yeah, I have them activate it now. They've got so much potential here to use the celebration mechanic with whatever cards to create more copies of this, to do more damage to any target they want. Let's try this again. Are you going to do the 3 points of damage? You are. Okay, and that works out to just a straight up trade. And then we're just going to attack straight at each other. I'm in the lead for now, so it makes sense. I think it's time for me to change who the likeness looter becomes a copy of. Okay, that's 1 permanent. They didn't want to save up. I can only activate that as a sorcery. Okay. Oh, they did get... What was their second permanent? I don't know. Okay, that would have to be a bargain. Okay, let's do this. Let's bargain this. Oh, I can't. I can't bargain with creatures. Forgot it has to be artifact, enchantment, or token. Okay, so let's go. What do we want to get from the graveyard? Just a fort. We'll copy the prankster. We'll bring down the real one. We'll choose 2. No attacks this turn. Okay, so they're getting... I misunderstood how the enchantment worked. They are getting a food fight every time. They get an additional food fight enchantment if something else comes and they trigger the celebration. But they still... This allows them to get the food token every single time. Okay, I can flash this in. Bring it back up to my hand, save it, resolve it. Bingo. Do this again. Still sticking with the number 2. And then no attacks. We're gonna block and use Stingblade Assassin on something. Alright, they took 2 points for that. We get a card. I'm not sure that matters. We're flying actually, right? So we can just go right over everybody's head. That took a little bit of thinking to work around. Let's go in and take a look at what we've got here. Fairy Trickers is the name. Okay, 23 creatures, 2.6 average cost, still just 24 lands. We've got the Sleep Cursed Fairy. Tome of Gadwick is the Alchemy card. Ego Drain should be familiar to people. Fairy Fencing, removal. Passive 2 Unveil is an Alchemy card. Choose one or both. You get to return creature to its owner's hand. One will gain perpetually 1 less to cast. The other creature you don't control gains 1 more to cast perpetually. A couple of spell stutters for counter spells. Baronati, lifelink source. Dunbarrow Revivalist can get a little boon, and then if you bargain it, you can get a creature from your graveyard back to your hand. The Likeness Looter you saw us use. Elvira Dreaming Duelist. Mocking Sprite, they give us 4 of these. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. But I don't know about that, because they gave us 6 instants and 5 sorceries, but let's look at them. The ego drains are only 1-drops already. I mean, I guess it might help with the fairy fencing. 2 copies there. The passive Toon Veil only costs 2 to begin with, and the spell stutters only cost 2 to begin with. So that's 6 right there that are just 2-drops or 1-drops. So why would you include 4 of these? Talion's Messenger. When you attack with 1 or more fairies, draw a card and discard, and you get a +1/+1 counter. So a little bit like Connive, but without having it... you can draw and discard a land and still have it count, whereas Connive, if you throw away a land, you won't get the +1/+1 counter. Asinine Antics. Talion's Throne Guard. Okay, so this is an Alchemy card. Flash, Bargain, and Flying. It's only a 2/1. We saw us use it to save Talion, to bring it back up into our owner's hand. If we bargain it, it perpetually gains this spell cost 2 more to cast, so you'd want to bargain it if you're bouncing one of the opponent's spells. Stingblade Assassin, we never actually got to use. This is a complicated card. It's good that you had the flash. But it's kind of expensive. But they made it a 3/1. But sometimes it's hard to predict when the enemy's going to attack or not. So we just never quite got the conditions quite right to actually cast that one. High Fae Prankster is an Alchemy card. Flying and Death Touch. You can choose up to one of these 2 options. You can perpetually exchange target creature's base power with another target creature's base power, or perpetually has base power and toughness 4/1. The 4/1 is not bad if it's got Death Touch, so you can just use it as a chump blocker. If you're on the offense and you're not expecting it to be countered or blocked, you can change it to the 4/1. But you only have this one chance to enter into the battlefield. There is a possibility that you could use Throne Guard to bounce it if you think you get more utility out of it later, to choose something new, casting it again later. But maybe this would work well against the Dragon deck to get their high base power. Talion's lovely card. I love that. Byra's Tenants. Adventure card, -4 for the instant, and 3/4 flying when you bring it down. Into the Fey Court, just drawing 3 cards and getting a fairy. And then High Fey Negotiator, bargain and flying. If it's bargained, the opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. So a teensy bit more of life gain there. They gave us Loch Larent. Enters the battlefield tapped. You can do this once. You scry 3, pay 2, scry 3. Opponent gets a 1-time boon. When you cast a creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield tapped with a stun counter on it. So activate during your turn and only once. So I think if you manage to bounce this, I don't think it comes back. Right? You can't recycle that in any way. It's 1 use only, and that's it. And then 3 Captivating Crossroads. And 2 Underground Rivers. I'm not sure why. Let's go back in and do another round. It felt a little slow to me. I really don't understand 4 fairies that make instants and sorceries cheaper. It seems like a poor fit for the deck. But let's see if we can try and make sense of it. Alright, we've got Spell Stutter ready. We're not going to save it, we'll just use it for whatever they put out. They weren't first players, so they don't have to worry about the crossroads coming in tapped during the first 3 turns of the game. Second Little Pig goes to the graveyard, shouting wee 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 all the way into the grave. Alright, Mocking Sprite comes down. We have a sorcery, so we just got saving there. Third Little Pig. Let's bring down the Messenger. Attack with the Sprite. Triggers there. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and... Oh, actually, let's do the Stingblade Assassin. We'll go ahead and beef up the Sprite itself. Do some damage right up front. Sure, come on through. Another third little pig. See, when you conjure one or more other cards, third little pig perpetually gets +1/+1. And we have the first little pig. Let's bring down another Mocking Sprite. Draw a card. Let's get rid of that one. Let's make the messenger tougher. You're getting rid of one of my sprites? Ouch. Okay, we'll do the antics. They all get to be 1/1s. Now you could exile one of these enchantments if you wanted, I guess. And this will get, let's see, -X and additional 3 if you control a fairy, so we just need to pay 2. And that gets rid of the big hunter. When it dies, comes back tapped. Okay. And then we don't have any way to bargain that. Maybe we could have bargained away a cursed roll. Let's go ahead and attack with just one of these. And Path of Tpull goes away. Pump you up. Bam. And if they remove one, we still got a chump blocker for the 6/6. And if they remove this one, we can still fly over their head and plus this one up for lethal. Yeah, so are they including 4 copies of Mocking Sprite just because they figure there's going to be a war of attrition and there's not going to be a whole lot of them? Do you have a way to do 5 + 5 damage? There's 2, there's 1 extra point of damage. Anything left to do? You got 4 mana. We get 2 triggers. You can go. Plus up you. You can go. Plus up you. Three life gain. 3 life gain, but I've got exactly 9. We beat the 3 little pigs. Let's do one more. I feel that there's potential here maybe for me to have fun, but I'm not sure that I'm enamored with Tribal Fairy. Dragon deck. Okay, this is the one that I showed recently. I like the Dragon deck. They think it's worthwhile doing a 1-1, huh? Alright. Let's go ahead and make that blue. Pass the turn. We're using Spell Stutter on whatever happens next, probably. They can't plus up the Devastator. They're willing to do that for one. You know what? That's fine, actually. We'll save the Spell Stutter for one more turn. We can still put down the Tome of Gadwick, just to put something on the field. And maybe they won't think twice about the possibility of a counterspell. They get 3 lands. The Draconic Debut makes any dragon spell cost 1 less. And that goes away. Alright, what do we do next? You, come on down. Fairy Court got cheaper. Asinine Antics just got cheaper. Still can't cast Stingblade Assassin. Did you keep up with your attack? I expect them to just, yeah, expect them to kill it. Okay, so they spent 3, so probably a really big dragon's coming out next. And this is basically all I can do. Oh, you know what? The boons still count, because this was a Viashina Warlock. It wasn't a dragon spell, so that never went away. So they just made whatever they're going to put out 4 mana cheaper. So it wouldn't have done any good to hold on to the Spell Stutter anyway, because they could probably afford whatever they want. They can afford the most expensive spell in the deck. Realm Scourge Hellkite. And it has haste. And it can do 1 damage to any target, so our cheap sprites go away. I'm reduced to, let's see, let's exchange target player's base power. There we go. When you're facing powerful dragons, that's kind of cool. We made him stop and think. Wahaha. The problem is they've got 2 more copies of Draconic Debut, and they've got enough mana to cast it, so they're 1 zap away from hurting us. Invoke? Do we trade that? Yeah, we trade. We're half dead. We gotta do something here. Okay, can we bring... Yeah, let's bargain this. Sacrifice the artifact. Let's go ahead and bring the Prankster back up into our hand. If they put down another powerful bomb, they can just kill this, right? So we need to have at least toughness 3 creatures coming down. Uh-oh. There's 5 more points. And Asinine Antics doesn't do much. It would save us like 2 points of damage. So, let's see. Let's bring this down. Let's choose 6. Becomes a 4/5. That's decent. The problem is they can just ping us, right? 1 damage to any target. They could do 2 damage this turn right now with the... Oh, 3 damage now. They have enough lands. Or they could bring this down with the haste. Okay, so it cost them 2. We got a land, but we didn't gain any life out of that. And they've actually already got lethal with that. So maybe I was... Yeah. That doesn't have flash. The Dragon's Goddess. I do like the Dragon deck better. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the Fairy Triggers deck one more time. The toughness on average is just so cheap for these. Maybe the Sleep Curse Fairy might have helped if it showed up at the very beginning. A lot of these cards we just didn't get to that really show up to help out. We got all the toughness ones, right? The Revivalist and all of the Mocking Sprites only have toughness 1. It's so easy to get rid of them. I think this is based on the idea of being a flying deck and being able to zoom in and fly over their heads and tap them for damage. And so it makes sense that we'd lose to the Dragon deck. There's not much chances to attack past the Dragons because they all have flying. Even the Throne Guard here is only toughness 1. The Assassin is only toughness 1. And you really don't have a chance to build these up to capitalize on getting, you know, what would you do? Cast a cheaper Into the Fey Court once? And that would be it? I really don't like the makeup of this deck. Having these 4 in there does not make sense to me. Because you already have 24 lands. So, you know, you should be able to get to 4 mana fairly simply. The most that you're waiting for is a 5th land for 3 spells. Why would they do this? Leave me a comment if you think, you know, what was their thinking. Because they usually put some thought into how they make these premades to try and show off how well they can do. But, you know, when half your spells are 2 drops or 1 drops, having that cost reduction really doesn't make sense to me. So that kind of spoils my feel for the deck. Not sure that I like it that much. The Likeness Looter is kind of interesting with the potential. I really like Talion, of course. And the High Fae Prankster you can sort of get some use out of. Not impressed with the rest of this deck. Anyway, let me know what you think. Remember, like and subscribe. We'll try and get to one of these other decks before the time runs out on Midweek Magic and put it through its paces and see how it does. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.